paper and might have even seen some of the TV coverage on the news this morning. This is a really big deal for the center. It's a big deal for Arkansas. We're even going to have the Clintons visit the first week of December here to Little Rock to participate in some of the festivities. We get to enjoy this state-of-the-art facility every Tuesday for our meetings and feel we've developed a strong partnership with the center over the years, for which we're very grateful. The Clinton Presidential Center is home to 3 organizations, which are each represented on today's panel. The Little Rock offices of the Clinton Foundation, which operates domestic and international programs that develop leaders and advance solutions to the world's pressing challenges. The William J. Clinton Presidential Library and Museum, part of the National Archives and Records Administration's Presidential Library System and Associated Archives and Research Room. And the University of Arkansas Clinton School of Public Service, the first higher education institution to offer a Master of Public Service degree. The Clinton Center is also a managing partner of the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program, or the PLS, a first-of-its-kind leadership development program operated in partnership with the Presidential Centers of Lyndon B. Johnson, George H.W. Bush, and George W. Bush. We're also blessed to have 3 of the 4 participants today as members of Club 99. And don't worry, I've already sicked Ross on Mike Hemphill to make sure that we're giving him adequate attention to get him to join. Since most of you know our panelists well, I won't linger on their bios. Moderating today will be Lena Hayes, who has rejoined the Clinton Foundation the past few months from the Baptist Health System. Lena is now the Chief of Philanthropy and Partnerships for the Clinton Foundation. She'll moderate the discussion among Jay Barth, who is the Director of the Clinton Presidential Library and Museum, Mike Hemphill, who is Professor of Practice at the Clinton School of Public Service. He's also Senior Director of the Leadership Development at the Clinton Foundation and Co-Director of the PLS program, Presidential Leadership Scholars Program. And of course, Stephanie Streett, the Executive Director of the Clinton Foundation, where she oversees strategy and management of the Clinton Presidential Center, as well as the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program. Please welcome our panel.
Thank you, Chris. And hello, everyone. We are so excited to be here. I came back just in time to celebrate the 20th year. As we talk about that, I want to take us back to that rainy day. It was rainy. And President Clinton gave this quote that I want to share with you to just kick off the conversation. He said, "The thing I want most is for people, whether they're Republicans or Democrats, liberals or conservatives, to see that public service is noble and important, that the choices and decisions leaders make affect the lives of millions of Americans and people all across the world. I want young people to see not only what I did with my life, but to see what they could do with their lives. Because this is mostly the story of what we, the people, can do when we do it and we work together." In my humble opinion, that quote is so true, so important, so relevant today than it was 2 decades ago. And so, I just want to also say, as a fellow Rotarian, one future on the panel, right, Mike? Rotary truly embodies the spirit of that profound message President gave through that quote. And so I want to just start with the panel and let y'all start sharing with us. We heard his vision. Tell us what about his vision and how it has inspired the work that you're doing today. And Stephanie, you can kick us off.
Thank you, Lena. Well, thank you, Chris, for thinking of us on this momentous occasion and giving us the opportunity to speak today. President Clinton's vision was very specific When he decided, first of all, to put the Clinton Center here, there were many other options he could have chosen. There were big plays for the center to be in Georgetown at his alma mater there. There were, Fayetteville wanted to have the presidential center there. But when he really thought about it, he said there were two main reasons that he put the center here. One, he would have never been, obviously, governor or president without the people from Arkansas and their support. He wanted to give this center as a gift back to this community because he had a vision of what it could be. He understood the economic, social, and cultural development that would result because of that decision. And number two, and I think this is really important specifically today, he wanted it to be in the middle of the country so that people, more people, real people, people that don't get to travel to the East Coast or the West Coast, so they could have access to the resources, the programs, the opportunities, specifically for young people. And so that's what I think that we really, one of the things that we deeply focus on is opportunities for young people, which you mentioned, Lena, in that quote. The curriculum that we have with my partner, Jay Barth, the civic engagement curriculum, the leadership curriculum that we have for high school students, which was developed upon the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program model, that especially today, we want to figure out people to understand that decisions matter, how you make decisions matter. And so starting with elementary, junior, and high school students, we want to give these students tools, real life opportunities to practice being civically engaged, having opportunities to sit down and understand how important it is to have a conversation with respect with someone that you may deeply disagree with. So we have spent time on that, but we are deeply committed for the next 10 to 20 years to making that an even stronger focus. And I'm so pleased that my colleague Joyce Akubin is here, that I hope you all read the high-profile article on her, because she is the person that is driving that civic engagement curriculum, helping us develop the partnerships, and it's a real focus. So I want to double down on that for the next 20 years, Lena, and that is specifically related to President Clinton's original vision for what he wanted the center to be.
I love that. I love that. Jay.
Yeah, so a couple of things about the quote. I think that first I'll pick up on the Democrats and Republicans quote, because the National Archives, in creating presidential libraries, they represent presidencies that were both Democratic and Republican, and we work together incredibly closely to produce a variety of programs that really reach across the presidential library system, and we do so in a way that is fundamentally apolitical, apartisan, I think it's fair to say, because it's all about politics, right, in terms of giving people civic skills, but it's apartisan, and I think that's really important. But to pick up on another part of the quote and to pick up on Stephanie's notion, we are really leaning in, as I came on board at the Presidential Library, we are still continuing to do all the work related to giving folks access to the presidential records, because that's an important part, that's the fundamental part of our job, and doing more and more digitization to allow folks to get access to those records wherever they are. And of course in the museum, working with the foundation, telling the story of the Clinton presidency in the 1990s as a very fascinating period in American life. But increasingly we're pivoting and putting a lot more focus on public outreach and civics education. And a good example is what we're doing here at Southwest High School. Our team at the Clinton Presidential Library is working with the Academies program, the Academies of Pulaski County, and working specifically with the Leadership and Public Service Academy at Southwest, and giving those young people an idea to what federal government service can be, because it's an amazing set of opportunities in federal government, whether you're working as historians at a presidential library or whether you're working elsewhere in federal government. And just before the election, we were talking about this just before, another kind of interaction with Southwest High was bringing Southwest High students in to help them learn how to work ballots, how to go through the voting process so that they are prepared then when they turn 18, they are ready and confident to go out and engage in that fundamental act of citizenship and also to introduce, reiterate it to their parents that this is an important act. So those are the kinds of ways in which we're really, of course, doing all the work that happens at this place, but pivoting out to the community to do more and more and more work, especially with young people.
I love that. And I was here and I actually saw that program, and it was really compelling to watch the kids who had not even been here and to be able to see, because it can be intimidating, to go up to a voting machine and to know what you can do or what you should do. And I didn't see one until it was time to actually vote. So I love that. Mike, what would you like to share?
Well, first of all, I just want to say it's just an honor to be here representing Dean Soto and the Clinton School. Jay and I were inaugural faculty members at the Clinton School, and I had the great fortune of spending time there as a faculty member and as a dean its first 5 years. And since coming back to the Clinton Foundation, I've had the opportunity to continue to teach there, and it's just been a thrill for me, and it's just an honor to be up here with all of you. I think about this quote, and I'm reminded of the words of the great American philosopher John Mellencamp. Now more than ever. When I think about the Clinton School and the mission of the Clinton School, we live in a time now where obstinance is confused for leadership. And what we need is more of these young graduate students that are coming to the Clinton School who are passionate about public service, but the kind of public service that the Clinton School focuses on. One of the many things that makes the Clinton School unique is that it's not a school of public policy study. It's a school of action. And the students that are attracted to the Clinton School come to the Clinton School because they want to make a difference in the lives of other people, and they want to work to make communities better. And they want guidance from a group of scholar practitioner faculty who are not only experts, subject matter experts in their fields, but have practical experience of using that information to bring about positive change in the community. And so the school attracts those kinds of students, and I just tell you from teaching them every year that we need those inspired and inspiring young graduate students to learn more about the importance of face-to-face, grassroots social change.
I love that. And I will talk about a program that I also saw that the Clinton School conducted here. And we brought Central High school students here, and they taught a session about how to conduct difficult conversations, how to see the other perspective, how to respect the other perspective, whether you agreed with it or not. And it was such a good program. What we're doing for the Clinton School students, they get real life training right here, and they get to take it out in the world. So thank you for that. So we talk a lot about impact. We like to share the ROI. When people invest in you, they want to know, what's the impact? What's my investment? What's the return on it? So share with us your favorite impact story. I know you have many, but choose one. And you can start, Jay.
So I'm gonna talk about the role that the Clinton Presidential Center plays in enhancing the conversations in this community through our public speaker series, our public program series, which the three entities we often partner on. And of course, I think everybody in this room has been to programs in this room or maybe across the way when Justice Ginsburg was here, that were really powerful and have really transformed Little Rock as a place to live, right? The quality of life of Little Rock is fundamentally different. My favorite is actually, since I've been on board, is very tied to Rotary, and that is a program year before last when Secretary Clinton was here with Robert Putnam, the sociologist, and talking about the new film on Putnam that was. She was with Robert Putnam, and there's a new film called Join or Die about the importance of joining civic organizations like Rotary. and how important that is in terms of building a healthy democracy. Because there are people in this room, we know we disagree with each other politically, we disagree with each other in a lot of ways, but we can have good conversations around those things where we have shared interests. And that was the public program that is a great example of the kinds of things that happen here because of the partnership that happens on the campus of the Clinton Presidential Center.
Thank you. Mike?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this. You know, we have a tendency to think about impact and how we assess or measure impact, and there's this gravitational pull towards the large-scale results. But I'm going to go back to my first year teaching at the Clinton School, and one of the projects that one of our students did that I think is really representative of sort of the school's impact that it has. You know, the students at the Clinton School, almost 40% of their credit is gained through their field experience, and so they're constantly working in communities both in state, across the country, across the world. But we had a student do her capstone project in Helena, West Helena, right after the two cities had merged together. And she did a fascinating thing. She brought fifth graders together and asked them, when you're 21 living in Helena, West Helena, what do you want it to be like? And these kids brainstormed all their ideas and they wrote them down, and then she had them draw pictures of it. Then she brought an artist in who took those pictures and transformed it into a design for a mural. And it's exactly what you would think 10-year-olds in the Mississippi Delta region would want in their town, a town square with an ice skating rink in the middle of it, and theaters and playgrounds and all these wonderful things. And then they got an artist to come in and they painted that mural on the side of the building, in one of the buildings in Helena, West Helena, so the residents there could see the vision that these kids had for their city. But as she was giving her final presentation, one of the city leaders there leaned over to me and said, you know, I think Katie may be the first adult in many, many years who ever had a conversation with a 10-year-old in this town that was based on the assumption they'd be living here when they were 21 and not somewhere else. And we think, you know, I would go back and over the years, talk to Katie, and she'd always say, you know, I wonder what impact that mural had and if it helped the community that much. But the one that we always settled on is the impact that her effort had on those kids. And so it maybe didn't generate the numbers, but she changed, I'm certain of it, the lives of those kids and gave them a sense that there's a vision for their community, for their hometown that they can have, that they can aspire to and live to. So that's why it's an early one for the Clinton School, but it's my favorite one.
Love it. Stephanie, share yours.
I think one of my, if not my favorite impact story is that took place during COVID. You may remember the day, I know Pam Smith will, and Dr. Wright, you weren't here, but the day that they announced that school was going to be closed, that students would not be coming to campus for school. And the mayor and several of us got together because we were very concerned about the students that were on free and reduced lunch. What were they going to do for meals? And so a group of us came together, partners across the city, and talked about how we were going to deal with this, literally starting the next day. And to sort of make a long story short and pull the thread forward, the Clinton Foundation called on our friends from World Central Kitchen, Jose Andres, who has been a partner with the Clinton Foundation for many, many years, working on the issue of food insecurity. And they came together with us and with the city and with the Central Arkansas Library System and many, many, many partners across our community. And we turned the Clinton Center, because we had to close as well, for an entire year. We had a massive feeding operation here. And during that year period when schools were closed, we prepared, packaged, and delivered with our partners over 1 million meals to students and family. And Frank, we ended up giving them out to anyone who needed one during that year. So to me, that was probably in the 20-something years I've been here, probably the most meaningful project that I've been involved in here. It was unlike anything we could have ever dreamed of that we would be doing here at a presidential library, at a presidential center. But of the impact that had, and the ideas that sparked that unlikely partners could come together to do something really unique and impactful, It's really inspired me, and I know all of our team at the foundation and the center, the library and the school, of what other kind of partnerships can we bring together here to make an impact, an unlikely impact. So that's mine.
It's beautiful, and we're just going to lean more into partnerships because President Clinton has always emphasized the importance and the power of partnerships. How, again, we the people, when we work together, the things we can do, the mountains we can move, the changes we can make across the world. So with that, I'm going to kick it to you, Mike, and I want each of you to share a story about the partnerships you forged.
Yeah, so for the Clinton School of Public Service, I think those partnerships manifest themselves in a couple of different ways. But one is obviously, as I mentioned, so much of the academic work at the school is field work. Students working in teams in locations across the state. Their first year over the summer, they spend time in a foreign country working on a project, and they all work on individual capstones when they get back during their second year. The school's tabulated over the history of the school 500,000 hours, 500,000 service hours of Clinton School students have provided to groups all over the world. 97 different countries have been impacted by the students at the school. And every one of those projects, every one of those experiences is a partnership. It's a relationship. And facilitating partnerships and relationships in community. But you should also think about the faculty at the school who do everything from help organizations develop strategic plans for their growth, to help organizations develop ways of measuring and evaluating the effectiveness of the work that they do, who coordinate and organize community dialogue on really challenging issues. And in the process of doing that, also teach the students how to engage in those things as well. So it's those countless partnerships that form the foundation of the education at the school.
I love that. Jay?
Yeah, a number of examples that I could look to, but one I'll point out that is both a national partnership as well as a local partnership. And when I came on board, one area in which I had a lot of interest was expanding our civics education program to non-traditional audiences. And one audience that we knew needed help were those individuals who were preparing to take the naturalization exam, those future Americans who were on the pathway to citizenship. And so we looked to Kathleen Pade, who's our Director of Education and Public Programs. We looked to a national partner, which was the New York Historical Society, which had a model for teaching these programs using objects and documents, just like the ones we have here at the Clinton Library. But then we knew we needed a local partner to make it work. And so we worked with Arkansas United, which is a local immigrants services organization, to help identify those individuals who were at the proper legal stage, but also had the appropriate language skills to actually undertake a program like that. And so it is an 8-week program. We're now on series 4 of this, in which we help prepare folks to take the exam. And it's incredibly rewarding. A number of us in the library, as well as foundation staff, were trained to teach these classes. And I've taught the civil rights class a number of times. That's a big portion of the exam on civil rights. And it's just a really fulfilling experience. Kathleen talks about getting these texts, being on these text chains, and getting these new Americans saying, I passed the exam, right? And this is the kind of empowerment that comes from this education. It's just so clear in that example. So that's a good example of both a national and a local partnership that's making a real difference for new Arkansans.
Thank you, Jay. Stephanie?
Thanks, Lena. I want to circle back again to this civic engagement curriculum and the partnerships that we have across the state with school districts and with individual teachers that come back year after year and bring their students here for the kind of programming we've discussed. But probably our strongest school district partnership is with the Little Rock School District with Pam Smith, who's worked with us for, decades really on and trying to make sure that we have opportunities for students across the Little Rock School District. And then obviously Dr. Wright's support has been incredibly powerful, and he has very much promoted the opportunities here to bring to the students. So those partnerships of helping us enhance our curriculum, understanding what teachers need, because curriculum has changed and standards changed. So we really try to align to what these schools need, what they're not getting in school. We really try to be an extension of the classroom with the programming that we provide here. So I'm always energized by the great ideas that we get from educators, and grateful, deeply grateful for the partnerships across the state, but in particular to our friends here at the Little Rock School District.
And we have a great partnership with the city of Little Rock, too.
Thank you, we absolutely do. And thank you for bringing that up, because we wouldn't be here without the city of Little Rock. Obviously, the partnership where they, when I was talking earlier about President Clinton choosing to put the site here, well, if they hadn't come up with an opportunity or put that whole package together, then we wouldn't have had that opportunity, or the president wouldn't have to select this. And we continue to partner with the city of Little Rock. This facility actually sits on city park land, so we have sort of a joint use agreement where we figure out each year, how we're going to enhance the park, what we're doing here. My dear departed friend Bruce Moore, when I first came back from the White House, one of the very first things President Clinton said is, I want to get City Year started in Little Rock. And so the first person I called was Bruce Moore, who was then assistant city manager, and we put together a local committee. And again, this is the 20th anniversary of City Year Little Rock as well. And the work that those, what we call them, the core members, who are really sort of coaches, student success coaches, the work they do in the classrooms to help kids get on their move up a grade level, to help them with academics, with sort of social issues. That work is so impactful. So I could take the rest of the program talking about the partnerships with the Central Arkansas Library System, with the Arkansas Food Bank. They go on and on and on, because, as you said, Lena, we don't do this work in a vacuum by ourselves. We do it with partners. That's the way we have impact.
Yes. And I want to recognize, being in a room full of volunteers, our volunteers, our Clinton Presidential Center volunteers. We could absolutely not operate this center without them. As you walk in the door, you see smiles welcoming you every day. And I can't tell you how powerful and impactful our partnership with them really is. So I wanted to just say that, because I started as Director of Volunteers as well.
Inaugural Director of Volunteers, Lena.
That's right. Okay, so let's take a few minutes to look ahead. We know the last 2 decades have been wonderful, but give us a preview of what's ahead. And you can start with sharing what's on your radar, Jay.
Yeah, a number of things are ahead of us, but one area in which we're really putting more and more attention is on teacher professional development around civics education. Teachers really need nonpartisan support to do their job better. And so we, over the last year, really have begun to lean into in-person, virtual, hybrid teacher professional development. So teachers have the tools they can use to really make a difference. And we've touched on Holocaust education, and we focused on a variety of other topics, including a really cool hybrid program that was a partnership between the Eisenhower Presidential Library, the Brown versus Board National Historic Site, the Little Rock Central National Historic Site, and the Clinton Presidential Library around the 70th anniversary of the Brown decision. That was a week-long program that teachers said was the best professional development they had ever done. And we did it in a hybrid manner with folks all over those sites. And it was a really exciting example of what's to come in terms of, we really see ourselves and want to see ourselves as the place that folks come for high quality professional development when it comes to this work, not just touching students, but touching the teachers who interact with those students every day.
That's very good. Stephanie? would you like to share?
Sure. Well, I think most of you know at this point, or I hope you know, that we're planning for an expansion here at the Clinton Presidential Center. We've been working with Jeannie Gang, who you all know did the incredible architecture work for the Arkansas Museum of Fine Arts. And we're also working with Ralph Applebaum Associates out of New York. They designed the original exhibits here. So one piece of that is, as we move forward, we want to update the technology here. We aren't planning to change any stories because the history is the history, but we hope to, through technology and through other means, enhance the permanent exhibits here by adding a layer of context. So I don't think any of the presidential libraries have had the luxury of having their former president, former first ladies have another opportunity to share more information. When we left the White House, obviously, you know, there were several decisions that were new at that time, the Human Genome Project, other things, and now looking back or looking forward 20 years, we can share sort of the impact stories of what has happened in the 20 years, the results of those policies. And so we want to pull that thread and add that layer of context so that people can understand why decisions were made, how they were made, and what were the results, both positive and negative, frankly. Are there things that we wish we could have done better? So that's an exciting layer. The other thing, and there's many pieces to this expansion and enhancement, is the Hillary Rodham Clinton Institute. We haven't, that's not the formal name yet, but the plan is to have a space here dedicated to telling her entire life story in public service. Again, something very unique that the Clinton Presidential Center will have that none of the other presidential centers have is a full exhibit retrospective of her whole life and career. Additionally, we will have her entire archival collection here, located at the Presidential Center for future scholars and journalists and everyone to have access to. And there'll be a number of other components. We're not ready to share that publicly yet. We're still sort of in the schematic concept design phase. We want to get this right. We're not putting ourselves on a specific time deadline because this is probably the last opportunity during my lifetime to do a major upgrade like this. So we are very busy trying to align our fundraising schedule with the plans that we have, and we'll hope to share some news about specific designs, you know, down the line.
Exciting. Mike?
So I was in thinking about this, you know, it's an exciting time in education, it's higher education.
Yeah.
I am serving on a faculty committee at the Clinton School on the use of artificial intelligence at the school. I reminded Vicki that I wrote my dissertation on a yellow legal pad and used a typewriter, but somehow I found myself on this committee. But as I think about the future, I'm going to go back to a partnership that I just want to make sure that we recognize, and that is the partnership among these three organizations. And as I think about the future of the center, the work that Dean Soto, Jay, Stephanie have done in collaboration and coordinating efforts, you know, under the leadership of Jay, the library is so much more than just a place to see the accomplishments of President Clinton. And it really has become a place that tells the story of a time when, you know, people who necessarily didn't agree with one another or thought very differently about issues worked together to get very important things done. And that's a story that we need to tell. And it's a story that we tell to the high school kids that come into our leadership program. It's a story that we tell to college students through the Clinton Global Initiative University effort. It's the story told at the Clinton School of Public Service. It's the story that we tell to mid-career professionals who are committed to making their homes and communities a better place in the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program, and ultimately the people that make commitments at CGI. That's a thread that runs through all of these activities, and it really is boosted by the collaboration among these three organizations. So if there's a President Clinton legacy at the Clinton Center, it's the legacy of taking action. And I just think that the future is really bright with the initiatives and the programs that the center is going to provide people that help them take action to make the world a better place.
Well, you just led us into our last thing.
Funny how that works that way, doesn't it?
We're going to talk. I want you all to give a call to action phrase to end our conversation. And would you like to start, Jay?
I'll go with revitalizing democracy.
Like it.
Our common humanity matters more than our interesting differences. That's not my line, that is President Clinton's line. But we all need to come together.
Spread the word about the Clinton Center.
Love it. Love it. I think we can open up for questions. Yeah.
Hey, this may be for Jay or Stephanie, and love all the material you covered and shedding light on everything that's being done. But I want to talk about something I know everyone loves, and it's airplanes. And there's a presidential library in California that has one. Has there ever been any discussion, as the 2 new Air Force Ones come on commission at some point in the future, of having 9,700 or 9,800 out here in the back?
Well, I've been here probably the longest, so there has been discussion, and I don't know, I won't get into the layers of bureaucratic detail that goes into acquiring one of those. Our name is on a list. A lot of that depends on the current president, who got in the queue first to get one. You have to be able to provide a certain level of funding of, if you've been to the Reagan Library and you've seen the massive pavilion, I think when it was built 10 or 15 years ago, the pavilion alone, I think, was close to $50 million. And that all came from one donor, T. Boone Pickens. So there are lots of issues around that. It's complicated. We're on a list. We'll see what happens.
Very good question. Anyone else?
Nope. From here.
One.
Mike, can you talk a little bit about what you're doing with Bush and Clinton on your scholar program?
Yeah.
A lot of people may not be familiar with that.
Thanks, Aaron. So we're actually celebrating our 10th anniversary of the Presidential Leadership Scholars Program, and it's a collaborative effort between the Clinton Center, the LBJ Center, the 2 Bush centers in Texas, and basically what we do is invite every year 60 mid-career professionals, 35 to 45 years of age, the most deeply heterogeneous group of people that you can imagine, people whose paths would never cross if it weren't for our program, people who, if they knew about one another before they joined the program, would probably work actively not to meet each other because they think so differently about things. And within a span of 6 months, we are able to give them an experience in which they get to hear from President Clinton, they get to hear from President Bush, they get to hear from members of the administrations of all 4 presidents that are involved. We visit all of the presidential centers, and everything is geared towards improving their leadership in the work that they're doing to improve their community, however they define community. And for some of them, it's working with their neighbors, and with others, it's working on global issues. It has been in a very long and blessed career for me. The 10 years I've spent with PLS has been the most rewarding of my life, just to see these 60 folks come together every year and see the dynamic that happens among them and the amazing work that they do as a result of being in the program. We just placed our class for next year, had 650 applications for the 60 spots. All of them just fantastic people.
And I want to give Mike a little credit here because he's way too humble. Mike has been the architect of the PLS program. He came on when this was just an idea between President Clinton and President Bush. He has sort of driven the bus and built it at the same time. And this, I think, is one of the most incredible programs, the nonpartisan program. The ethos of what they do is everything we've been talking about. Mike has been instrumental in driving it forward, of really every year sort of making tweaks. And now we have over 500, as of last year, 500 of these alumni out in the world making their own communities, our country, and our world a better place. And that's what gives me hope for tomorrow. When you see these type of committed people, completely different walks of life, completely different political stripes, coming together, putting aside differences, working to develop their leaderships to go out there and solve the most pressing challenges in our world. So give a big hand to Mike Hemphill for putting this program together.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Is that concluding? Okay, I just want to thank y'all, and one thing I will just say is President Clinton, as y'all all know, was a little boy born in hope. In hope. And hope became more than just the place he was born. It was instilled in him, and instilled in him a sense of purpose. He became president. He brought his presidential library here to Little Rock to be able to do the same thing for kids of all ages. And so my call to action, you know I'm a fundraiser, and I'm not going to ask for anybody to give. But what I will say is please do join us on this journey to continue instilling hope and purpose in kids of tomorrow, our leaders for tomorrow. Thank you.